Morning, everybody. Morning. Welcome to the July 22nd, 2024 meeting of Henderson County Fiscal Court. We're glad you're with us, and for those watching online, we are glad you're watching in as well. We'll begin as we always do with an invocation. Would you please stand? Dear Heavenly Father, please watch over this body as we work to make good decisions for our county and our community. Please watch over Henderson County as we get into a political season that may become divisive. Please watch over our first responders and men and women in uniform around the world. We say these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And God is saying back to me, and it hasn't been divisive yet? Anyway. Ms. Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Magistrate Starks.
Here.
Magistrate Berry.
Here.
Magistrate Southern.
Here.
Magistrate Tompkins.
Yes.
And
Here.
Magistrate Putnam.
Here.
Okay, we gotta become a little bit more serious, I think. Gentlemen, you have before you in your packet the minutes of the July 9th meeting of Fiscal Court. After a period of review, I'll entertain a motion to approve those.
So move. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other corrections, clarifications? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We have a busy agenda today, a lot of interesting stuff. The first item, Ken Boucherie from KYTC was not quite ready to come see us, so we will put him on the next agenda. Next, I'll call up Alan Bennett. They have, believe they've successfully applied for a grant. The final details are not to us yet, but if you want to describe this grant opportunity, Mr. Bennett, I'll enjoy.
This is the design grant for the runway shift and extension. The design work and planning of that work for next year has to happen this year so we can go out for bids. Those plans will be fairly in-depth, a lot of pages, a lot of control points. So the total of this grant was $764,000. We'll skip all the intermediate math, but the state's picking up 5% of the 10% match, and then you and the city are going to split the other 5%, 2.5 each. When I ran the numbers on it, I came up with about 73, I think, would be the county portion of this grant.
Yeah.
I think when I was in the budget discussions with you guys, I presented 18,750, not knowing what the final was going to be on the design grant. So now that we have actual numbers, we can put breakdown numbers as to what each person's part's going to be.
Now, for those of you who are relatively new on the court, several years ago, when the project of repositioning and lengthening the runway began, Mr. Bennett estimated the total match that the county might have to come up with was in the neighborhood of $369,000, $370,000 total over time. Some of that, correct me if I'm wrong, some of that has actually been taken care of in some of the run-up in other ways, like with in-kind donations or just money that didn't require a match at all. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No,
But we still have, we voted to set aside at the state level in our coal severance funds $369,000 just as these grants came in. And now the ball is continuing to roll here. So the $18,000, we have a couple choices with that. We can either go ahead and reach out to the state to collect up some of our coal severance money that's kept for us at the state level to pay this $18,000, or we can utilize money that's already in the budget. You know, I think we set aside, I want to say $200,000 in a contingency fund from coal severance revenue in LGEA. You remember that? We can use that money. We can dip into several pots. I don't know, Mr. Bennett, do you know how quickly we're going to have to come up with that 18 grand?
It will be in this fiscal year, but it won't be until later in this fiscal year, probably December.
Okay, so
November, December.
we've got some time to decide where that comes from. I guess we'll revisit it when we get to that point, and we'll be ready when that
Next
time
year on
comes.
that 369, now that will be inflation adjusted, and I have no clue how to estimate.
Oh, don't tell me
what
that.
Hey, who
I know.
doesn't
Yeah.
know what
I
inflation does
hear
to our
you.
money? It's
Yeah.
a game, and I can't keep up with it.
Yeah, I hear you.
That's, you know.
So-
Anyway, we're asking that you be authorized to sign this grant when it comes through in an electronic format.
Right.
And then for Steve to endorse your signature. Steve has been furnished a draft of this grant and has reviewed it,
Right.
typical.
Right. Any questions about this? I appreciate your aggressive way of pursuing a lot of these grants.
Absolutely.
So we'll have the clerk read the resolution.
Resolution authorizing county judge executive to enter into grant agreement for FAA Airport Improvement Program, AIP, project number 321-0025-P07-2024 grant. Whereas the Henderson City County Airport Board has been preliminarily approved for a Federal Aviation Administration FAA Airport Improvement Program grant in the amount of $695,430 with 10% match. That would be 5% state, 2.5% city of Henderson, and 2.5% also for Henderson County for design work on a runway extension project. Whereas the FAA Henderson City County Airport Board must have the cooperation of the City of Henderson and the Henderson Fiscal Court in order to be approved for the grant. Whereas the Henderson County Fiscal Court deems it to be in the best interest of the citizens of Henderson County to enter into the grant agreement with the FAA, the Henderson City County Airport Board, and the City of Henderson to effectuate the AIP grant. And whereas it is therefore the desire of the Henderson Fiscal Court to enter into all necessary and appropriate agreements with the Henderson City County Airport Board, City of Henderson, and the FAA facilitate the AIP grant. Now, therefore, it be resolved by the Fiscal Court, County of Henderson, Kentucky, as follows. That the Henderson County Fiscal Court hereby authorizes County Judge Executive Brad Schneider to execute the 321-0025-P07-2024 AIP grant agreement between the County of Henderson, the City of Henderson, the Henderson City County Airport Board, and the FAA at such time as said grant may be awarded and available, and to execute any and all other necessary and appropriate documents required by the FAA to complete the proposed airport improvement project. Did I read that part?
No.
Okay.
So do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
So the design work you're talking about, that's going to be the extension too?
It will be the extension. We actually got that money through a congressional block grant, and it comes with a congressional mandate to add 1,000 feet to our runway. We'll be doing the 600-foot shift westward, and that will give us a proper runway safety area on the east end. And then we'll not only shift 600 feet, but then add 1,000 to it, which will truly modernize our community resource.
We have a motion and a second. Any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you very much.
For the next, the Service Mine Committee recommendation, I'm going to have County Engineer Nick Stallings, if you want to come to the podium, and I will do right there.
No, let's get to business. Conductor's gone. He's back, he's back.
And for the record, I want to read that we are considering a proposal of a bond release for increment 1 on permit 851-0054, both Phase 1 and Phase 3 in Henderson County. So the Service Mine Committee met, and it voted to approve this bond release. And as part of the discussion, we made sure that ERP was still on schedule with the intent to pay for the paving or the reconstruction of Conaway Road, and also provide funding for the paving of Mason Landing Road. And the committee was glad to hear that, and hopefully that both of those projects will be done this year, if I understood correctly. We've been waiting a long time on that. Any other thoughts about this bond release request?
No, you did good, Judge.
The section being released is a coal haul road that belongs to Penn, Virginia, not a county road. So, any other members of the committee want to add to that summary of our meeting?
I think we continue to make good progress on it and, represent the county to make sure we get a fair and equitable return on what we got going.
So, this proposal of the bond release is before us. Again, increment 1 on permit number 851-0054. Entertain a motion to approve that.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. Any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Next, my good friend Tom Lovett from the Green River Development District is here to brief us quickly on a requirement of counties receiving any kind of federal funding for transportation, which we do, to approve and follow Title VI, federal law, Title VI. So, Tom, if you want to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, and I promise I'll try to keep this short because this is really nothing that you guys are not already doing. Title VI says that you will not discriminate against people on the basis of race, color, national origin. And our Title VI plan actually includes sex as well, even though that's not technically covered under Title VI, but KYTC has asked us to include that language. So, because you guys get federal highway administration money, you are required to just basically sign off that, yes, you're right, we officially are saying we do not do this. GRAD and the Owensboro-Davis County MPO has developed a Title VI plan. What you're doing today, or what the resolution before you would do, would adopt this for Henderson Fiscal Court. It's just saying that, what you say in here, this is us laying out that we don't do this, we're not going to do this, and you're saying, yep, we're going to live by that. So that's really what this comes down to.
And GRAD is helping facilitate making sure that all of its 7 county fiscal courts have agreed to comply with
Right.
federal law and helping us facilitate that.
They didn't want to ask all of you, each of the counties, to create its own Title VI plan. So what they did was they came to the ads and said, here are the list of agencies in your area that are required to do this. You guys are City of Henderson, City of Owensboro, Davis County, Owensboro Riverport, because they've got that road project going on. So I've been going around talking to all you folks. We did have a conversation with the Evansville MPO, because there was some question about, since Henderson and Henderson County are both part of Evansville MPO, whether it would be better to adopt theirs or adopt yours. We discussed it with Evansville, and our Title VI plan got approved by like 30 days ago. So we know it's valid. It's got the KYTC sign off, and Evansville said, fine, you know what? And KYTC preferred it to stay with the ad as opposed to the MPO. So we talked to them and we agreed that you guys would adopt ours rather than have to draft your own. So that's what we're here for.
I've asked Angela Comer to be our Title VI point person, which I believe GRAD would like to ask somebody, each of the counties and organizations to do. And she has graciously agreed. It's not a terribly arduous task, but just making sure we meet annual education benchmarks and
basically
other related activities. So, any other questions? I'll have the clerk read the resolution, please.
Whereas the federal government enacted Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 as amended to prevent discrimination on the grounds of race, color, or national origin, and whereas Section 162A of the Federal Highway Act of 1973, Section 324, Title 23 USC identifies sex as a class protected from discrimination, and whereas KRS 344015 outlines implementation plans for Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 as amended by state agencies, and whereas it is a requirement of the Kentucky Department of Transportation and the U.S. Department of Transportation that agencies receiving federal financial assistance adopt a Title VI plan, and whereas Henderson County Fiscal Court is a recipient of federal financial assistance from the Kentucky Department of Transportation, and whereas Henderson County Fiscal Court assures that all of its programs, services, and activities will be free from discrimination, whether those programs, services, and activities are federally funded or not.
And now, if there be it resolved that Henderson County Fiscal Court, its regular public meeting of July 2024, do hereby adopt the attached Title VI plan. Do we have a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Motion and a second. Any other questions about that? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We have another resolution helping Renisa Clark in the county clerk's office obtain reimbursable grant for $8,300 for election equipment. And anything the clerk's office would like to add to that? Okay. We have a resolution to that effect as well. So I'll ask the clerk to read that. Thank you.
All right. Fiscal year 2025, Help America Vote, HAVA, HAVA, Election Security. Adoption of a resolution of the Henderson County Fiscal Court authorizing the filing of Fiscal year 2025 Physical Security Help America Vote Act application with the Kentucky State Board of Elections, SBE, for up to $8,300, authorizing and directing the Henderson County Judge Executive to execute any documents which are deemed necessary by SBE to carry out this project, and authorizing the Judge Executive to act as the authorized correspondent for this project. Whereas Henderson County desires to purchase voter privacy booths and approved by the State Board of Elections, SBE, on behalf of the residents of Henderson County by supporting the HAVA Election Security Project, and whereas it is recognized that HAVA monies available to the county for the purposes stated herein pursuant to HAVA Election Security impose certain obligations and responsibilities upon the county and will require, among other things, number one, approve of satisfactory application transmitted to SBE for approval, and two, other obligations of the county in connection and receiving the HAVA grant monies for the purposes states herein. Now therefore, it be resolved this 23rd day of July 2024 by Henderson County Fiscal Court that a fiscal year 25 Physical Security Help America Vote Act application on behalf of the county for HAVA monies up to $8,300 project shall be submitted to SBE. The county shall provide such additional information and furnish such documentation as may be required, and the county judge executive shall act as the authorized department correspondent for this project.
We have a motion to approve that.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other questions? Good luck getting the grant. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. You have in your packet, gentlemen, a renewal of the option for Pine Bluff Materials to both dredge in Henderson County in the Ohio River, and also to utilize a materials yard that is leased from the county. They have an option for both, and they have been very good corporate citizens here so far. For those of you who might not know, dredging leases are not exclusive in the county. Any company can come and apply and do it concurrently with other companies. So, and I think there are other companies thinking, hopefully, about dredging here soon for sand materials, whatnot. But this is an exercise of their option. And any questions about I think we make approximately 350 grand a year in mineral tax revenues. And, it's an important part of our LGEA budget. So unless there are any questions, I'll have the clerk read the resolution.
Whereas the Henderson County Fiscal Court entered into a non-exclusive lease with Hunter Sand and Gravel LLC in 2015, which was subsequently assigned to Pine Bluff Materials Company LLC in 2016 for the right to dig, dredge, and remove the sand and gravel underlying that portion of the Ohio River lying north of the thread of the stream, except accretions to islands privately owned, as a non-exclusive lease, wherein Henderson County reserved the right to execute as many other leases for the removal of sand and gravel from the premises as it deems desirable and beneficial to the county. And whereas the Henderson County Fiscal Court also previously entered into a lease of approximately 1.82 acres of land located on West Main Street in the city of Henderson, PVA parcel number 1342, with Hunter Sand and Gravel LLC in 2015, which was subsequently assigned to Pine Bluff Materials Company LLC in 2016, and whereas each of the aforementioned leases included a clause stating that it was the intent of the parties that there may be up to 3 4-year renewals of this agreement upon the same terms, subject to the dictates of state law and the approval of the then sitting fiscal court, and whereas it is legally unclear whether or not the Henderson County Fiscal Court may bind the county to leases for periods beyond the terms of the individual fiscal court magistrates and county judge executive, and whereas the Henderson Fiscal Court deems it in the best interest of the county to approve the second 4-year extension of both leases to expire July 31st, 2028, and whereas Pine Bluff Materials Company LLC has expressed its desire to renew both the land lease and the non-exclusive dredging lease with the understanding that the Henderson County Fiscal Court will be held harmless if there is any challenge to either lease based upon the lease period being beyond the terms of the current fiscal court members. Now, therefore, it be resolved by the Fiscal Court, County of Henderson, Kentucky, as follows. 1, that the Henderson County Fiscal Court hereby approves of the renewal of the existing non-exclusive dredging lease with Pine Bluff Materials Company LLC through July 31st, 2008. And 2, that the Henderson County Fiscal Court hereby approves of the renewal of the existing land lease with Pine Bluff Materials Company LLC through July 31st, 2028.
Any other questions? We have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Next is Report Board appointment. Tony Crampy's term has come. He'd like to serve again. Obviously, the board would very much like him to serve again. So I'm proposing that Tony Crampy be reappointed to the Riverport Board and continue to serve. I need a second on that, or I need a motion to that effect.
So moved.
Motion and a second. Any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? You should have in your packets a long list of surplus property that Brent Jacobs, our IT director, has decided has reached its end of life. As you know, we replaced, I think, 100% of the computers in the building, and also in other departments based on the end of life of certain Windows programs. And so we have a fairly lengthy list of both computers and monitors that we hope to get some value out of. And again, you see the list in front of you. While you're reviewing that, I'll have the clerk read a resolution declaring this surplus.
A resolution declaring certain county property to be surplus and providing for the disposition thereof. Whereas the Henderson County Fiscal Court is the owner of certain personal property that is no longer of use to the county. Whereas pursuant to KRS 67.0802, the Fiscal Court finds that it is in the best interest of the county to deem the property as surplus and provide for the disposition thereof. Whereas the Henderson County Fiscal Court wishes to offer the said personal property to be sold by public auction in accordance with the law at the discretion of the Henderson County Judge Executive. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Fiscal Court, County of Henderson, Kentucky, as follows. Pursuant to KRS 67.0802, the personal property on the lists attached hereto and incorporated herein is hereby declared to be surplus. It shall be sold at a duly advertised public or online auction pursuant to all applicable laws at such time and place and in such manner as shall be arranged by the county judge executive. The county judge executive or his designee is thereby authorized to make said arrangements.
Do we have a
So move.
motion to approve? Yep. Second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? And I will say thank you to Brent Jacobs for working so hard to swap out the new equipment and new PCs with the new software so quickly. Seemingly did it in a relatively short amount of time. It was a lot of work, so thank you, Brent. Without any further discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Nick, we have, it's annual bid time for concrete. And while he's coming up there, did you notice on the Pine Bluff resolution, did anybody know in this community there is a West Main Street? Have you ever heard of it? It does exist, believe it or not. But anyway, trivia question. Nick?
All right. I'm asking to go out for bids to do our asphalt paving this year. I can read through the list of roads if you all would like. If not, then we'll continue on with just asking for bids, both base and surface. Looking to do it like we did last year. Put in part of our bid package. Give them the list of the roads where they're at, the beginning and ending of each road. Both the base is set up separate than the surface, and giving them a time between the month of September and the first 2 weeks of October as a paving deadline. They can have any point in time during those 6 weeks to pave. It will, give us an idea on and help the contractors with a couple of questions about when, where, and that kind of thing for paving. Should get better prices.
Do you want him to read the list of roads?
I think we all probably know, we've all ridden and discussed, and, I mean, it's up to you guys if it needs to be done, but I think everybody knows.
Is it a long list?
About 12, that ain't bad.
I think it would be good for the record,
Yep.
for anybody watching to understand what we're planning for this year. So Rick, if you don't mind, Nick.
All right, for the East County District 1, we have Alvis Ferry starting at 351, going to intersection of 1078. We got Mason Landing. We're going at the intersection of 416, ending 12,000 feet, which is happens to be a bridge that we maintain. Then for base asphalt, we're looking to do Mason Landing 1,300 feet. That's the coal mine area. They are going to pay for that portion of the asphalt. And then Sandy Lee Watkins Drive, we're going to look at completing the rest of the paving from the back lake all the way up to the bridge that we have up by the front lake. So
That's in the park. Yeah.
Yes, actually in the park, and that will complete all paving within the park. So now the complete paving of Sandy Lee Watkins Park will be completed. Now in the central paving area for District 2, we have Zion LaRue Road. It is going from Rucker number 1 intersection all the way out into 351. So the entire road will be paved. And then Dick Smith, which is a gravel road, we're looking to pave over the asphalt. Over the rock, make it asphalt from intersection with 283 back to the big curve in the road itself. Now in District 3, we're looking to pave Evelyn Hancock, and that's just to complete that road from where we stopped last year. That's going from 1217 back to the asphalt joint that we ended at. Collier Road, we're looking to pave that one from 41A all the way back to the end of the road and that will be the complete paving of that portion of the road. We're looking to put asphalt over gravel for Mill Cates. That's from about a mile from 1299 to a quarter mile from 1217. That will complete Mill Cates as asphalt throughout its entirety. And then J. Gibson, we're looking to pave over asphalt over gravel, and we're going from the intersection of Rock Springs Dixie to about 3/4 of a mile from 145.
It's got to be noted, I think in the last couple of years, we've had one of the most aggressive campaigns of finally paving over roads that had historically been gravel for decades. And I think it's important, and it's I'm sure well received by the people who live on those roads. So I'm really happy about that.
Yeah, the main thing that us and the managers strive for is trying to get gravel roads next to houses paved, obviously for dust control and that kind of thing. That's what we look for first. Then if we can add that to the flow of traffic, then we do. So
Yeah, I really appreciate that, guys. And
yep, sure can. I'd say 45.
easily. Yeah. And the completion of the roadway in Stanley Watkins Park is a big thing. Stanley Watkins is growing in popularity. The one complaint I've always heard is getting your truck dirty or your car dirty, driving on the gravel road towards the back of the park. And finally, that'll be taken care of. So thank you, Nick. And we do have a motion to go out to bid for this asphalt.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other questions? Nick, thank you for all you do and your team. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Melinda Whitlock from Animal Control's here.
Good morning. Thank
Good
you for
morning.
having me. I believe in your packets you have the information I sent over for the animal control numbers. Just again to reiterate, the matrix is based on animals that were returned to the shelter, and the chart is all animal control calls for the month. Just to make sure there's no discrepancy, like you see on the matrix, the running at large is 35, and then the running at large on the animal control chart was 48. So those are animals that were returned to the owner that never made it back to the shelter to be documented in the shelter manager system. Just so you know the difference, I just want to make sure we report everything thoroughly, because I don't want to short animal control anything that they did that just did not, have to come back and be housed. I did want to thank you again for the truck. The officers are just ecstatic with it. They're so in love with it. Little funny tidbit, Officer Warren was actually on the warpath this morning because one got it dirty overnight. So whenever I left, he was outside hosing it off, and then he went in the office and, who got the truck dirty and why, So yeah, it's been a big thing. They've been really taking care of it. They all call each other out when they leave trash in it, when they get it muddy, when they don't clean it up after animals. So they've been really taking great care of it. I'm very proud of them. They're still very, very excited about it. So I also wanted to make you aware that we did finish the spay and neuter grant from the Kentucky Ag Department. Judge had signed off on that. I believe I was supposed to come and ask for the magistrates to vote on that, to approve that, and we went ahead and followed through because I was unaware that that's something that, it's something I had kept up with, but I didn't know I was supposed to be reporting it to you. So my apologies on that. I'll do better next year. We did sign the new agreement for this year, for this fiscal year. So, and I do keep track of that all year long, of all the animals that get spayed and neutered. That way we can be reimbursed that money, for the ag grant. I wanted to report, I don't know if judges kept you up to date on where the city contract is. I guess I could say it's still in discussion. I will make you aware whenever that is finalized or what direction that decides to go. But I appreciate your support and appreciate the generous budget you've given us to make improvements and make, necessary equipment upgrades, because we're trying to build our little department back. And it seems like we've had a very great response from the citizens. So they're always, very excited to actually see the truck come out and actually see us handle issues in their area. So,
Melinda, just go back to that. The city hadn't agreed to do the 50/50?
it is, I'm part of the email chain on it. Do you?
City's having discussion with the shelter about the requirement in the city contract to make calls on stray cats. It is not a part of the city ordinance that they do that, but the city is requesting it be part of the contract, and both Melinda and Board Chair Stacy McCord Crooks have severe reservations about being forced to come get stray cats because they could be feral, they could be anything.
Well, exactly.
And they have not done it in the past. They've always answered calls for injured cats, possibly abused animals, because that's state law, but nothing about coming and just picking up a stray cat. Of course, out in the county, the county ordinance does not require animal control dealing with just stray cats, and out in the county, nature tends to take its course. We don't have a stray cat problem out in the county. They are working through this, hopefully, and we'll come to resolution soon.
Yeah, I just wanted to let you know that it's
But
still
listen,
being-
that's a big, I've dealt with these, we'll call them feral cats, down on the south end behind Sherway, behind those blue apartments, back over on South Elm Place, where they actually, the people were complaining constantly, and the best you could do is they give you a cage and you capture it.
And that has been an issue, because that does spill over to the Humane Society of what we do with them. Some cannot be tamed, and some, I have several scars where we have tried to tame these feral animals, and they're wild animals.
They're wild animals, yeah.
Yeah, some.
We don't, at the animal control, deal with wild animals.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't care what you say, if you go, it's always they're all feral, and you have somebody feeding 15 bowls outside in the backyard.
That's the problem.
Feed it watered, and now they want you guys to pick these, it's, and there's nothing in a KRS for felines. Is that a real overstep there, Judge, you think?
I'm hoping the city and the animal control and Humane Society can work that out, because I have sent word that we do not, as a county, we have a lot of, we do not want wild animals in our shelter because of the potential to spread disease and other things to animals that are being held properly for potential pickup by an owner. If in the interim they get a disease from a wild animal, I think maybe it becomes our responsibility for that, and there are no other instances I know of where we bring wild animals into the Humane Society shelter on behalf of animal
I
control.
also think it's unfair to ask a employee of the county or city to trap wild animals when that's not what they're trained to do.
No.
That's not what the job description
No.
is.
And make no mistake, feral cats are
They
wild
can be a
animals.
handful.
Yeah. So there's an ongoing discussion there.
So
Well, it's a huge different, it would be a huge expense.
Yes.
There's
And as you know, and you've heard Melinda say, the Humane Society is basically full. And
we've tried to be very compliant on trying to offer assistance, but there's only a certain capacity we can hold. And some of them there are wild animals. Some of them are very tameable, some are very sweet, but we see a lot more wild ones when we do the sweet ones that you can, adopt out. I wanted to bring this, I wasn't trying to stir the pot. I was actually wondering if at some point we could have some sort of ordinance that says you can only feed so many cats. And,
I don't know how you can enforce that.
I don't either. It's just felines.
I have no idea.
I understand that. I just, just a way to make the people that are feeding them responsible for them. Because that is the issue, is you get one person in the neighborhood that is feeding the cats, and then you have 20 cats coming every single evening to eat. And
They
then all
deny
the
that.
neighbors
They
are
deny
upset.
it. I'm telling you, they deny it. Not my cats.
Yeah.
Whose food bowl is it?
Yeah.
But they're not my cats,
Well, if
Seems
your problem's
impossible.
in the city, then a county ordinance would not be
Yeah,
helpful to you.
yeah. But I wanted to discuss it with you so you know what's going on the other side of the coin.
So the brakes is on the money. No money yet. No agreement.
As of today.
Yeah.
As
Hopefully
of
it will be
today.
resolved. I have faith that, we will resolve it all. But, yeah, the cat thing has been an issue. We have tried to, we do have one owner that has come to terms with that she does own a few of them, and she is taking the proper steps to spay and neuter, and she's rehoming the rest. That wasn't a major issue in one community in the city limits. And so that, we're trying to work with her on that. But if everyone would take just a little bit of responsibility for what they're feeding, it would go a long way.
Well, if you pick, it can't happen, they're felines. But if you were, take these in, spay and neuter, I mean, the costs associated with the way we struggle with money there anyway, it's just not feasible.
Right.
No way you can do it.
Right.
It's, that's a big ask, I think, from the city. I don't get it.
But I don't hold up fiscal court. I just want to bring it to the attention, and maybe when I don't know, do you guys have a meeting together, city, county? Do you guys meet together from time to time?
We do, yes.
Okay, maybe you could.
It may be something that comes before the city-county cooperative study
Yeah.
group, so.
Yeah.
Just to double check these stats, the number at the top, animal count, 111, that's for the whole building, correct?
That is for the whole building.
So the intake is what has come in, the 35 through intake, is that what has come in through animal control or all kinds of intake?
And that's animal control per month. It's broken down by adult canines, puppies, adult cats, and adult felines. We don't take a lot of felines unless they're injured or, unless they're, beyond repair. But, yeah, so that is what is brought in just in the single month. And then that's why I wanted to show the discrepancy of animals at large on the matrix to the chart, because they do try to find owners immediately when they have an animal out. So you have the 48 that was at large, and then only 35 made it back.
Melinda,
So
is there a record on here of the number of animals being held for animal control holds, due to what the week-long period you're required to hold them?
The animal control hold only lasts 5 to 7 days, depending on if the animal is microchipped or collared. We extended to the 7 for that. So I can pull up paperwork for that, but it does transition so quickly, and the only ones that are actually physically under animal control after that period of time are the ones that are court cases, and that needs to linger.
It would be good to know that number.
Okay.
Because obviously, the county's interest in this data is mostly on what's happening with animal control.
Of course.
So it'd be good to break that out if you can.
Okay, I will have that next time.
Appreciate it.
I also wanted to do a little side note and do a special thank you to Judge for coming and hanging out with us Saturday. We really appreciate it. We had a lot of fun. We got some donations. We ended up getting 1 adopted that day, 3 more adopted within the week, just based on the media coverage alone, because it was all over Facebook and the news came out, and it was incredibly fun. The Audubon Park is wanting to make it a yearly event, so I would love it if anybody else wants to participate next year. I'm looking at you, Mr. Putman.
Bernice Abner, Chip Stauffer, and I took ones for the team.
Absolutely.
Agreed to
Miss
get
Tra-
pies in the face for the good of the Humane Society. And let me tell you, dried whipped cream does not smell good. It is not pleasant.
But you were such a champ. Such a champ.
It's made me think twice about whipped cream, which is really unfortunate.
Well, I couldn't make it that day. I'm sorry, I was
Yeah.
out of town.
Yeah,
But so
likely
I'll
story.
get, do a double whip or something next time.
Do you guys have any questions for me?
No,
They'll
thank you,
freeze it.
Melinda.
Thanks for doing a good
Appreciate
job.
it.
We appreciate it.
Thank you,
Thank you
Melinda.
all.
Thank you
Thank
for all you
you.
do.
Now, Dwight Duncan from the Sheriff's Office wants to come up. While he is coming up, I believe you have in your packets the regular Sheriff's Monthly Report. If you don't have any questions about that, I'll entertain a motion to approve that.
So move.
Monthly report, I'm sorry. We have a motion and a second. Any other questions, discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Now, Mr. Duncan, you have a request.
Yes, I just come here to give you a heads up, but things move kind of fast, so it's only like a 3-minute heads up because Brenda's going to come up here. Y'all approved this for us to get 4 cars. We have ordered those 4 cars. We did follow the proper procedures. It requires us to get 3 quotes or request for proposals from 4 different people. We went ahead and got all 4 requests for proposals for all 4s. we went with the cheapest bid, and we stayed within the budget. We're getting 3 pursuit vehicles and 1 detective vehicle. And if y'all have any questions about that.
Were all these bought from state contract?
Yes, sir. The state contract for cars requires that they don't just say this company. They say, here's 4 people. You got to get bids from these 4.
Yeah.
You got to get 3. So I called, but 1 never returned my phone call. 1 couldn't get cars until they can only get 2025s, and they're not in production yet, so we took them off. We'll end up going with Bachman because we can get 2023 vehicles cheaper. Yeah, they're brand new, but they're 2023s, but they're a little bit cheaper, so we saved some money on that. And then the detective car, I had to get a 2024 on that one because they didn't have any 2023s.
But Bachman is a state contract?
Yes, sir.
And,
Yeah.
And where did the new car come from, the 2024? Did you buy that from Bachman too?
Everything we bought, they were cheaper on everybody for
Okay,
everything.
gotcha.
Yes, sir.
And that's within your budget, so it's
Yes,
not
sir.
something we have to vote on, you're just giving us a heads up?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
We thought it was going to be a little bit down the road, but it moved kind of quick, so Brenda's going to tell you about that in a second.
Good deal.
Still full warranty on those 23s?
Yes, sir, yeah. Yeah, there's no difference, just we're saving about $8,000 by getting,
I think it's a good deal.
yeah.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
I believe you have the county clerk's report. Anything you'd like to add from the county clerk's office? We will need the check, yeah. So you have the county clerk's report and the check remuneration. Any other questions about that? We give a motion to approve, accept.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Y'all are easy on me today.
Any additional information?
No, I don't have anything. It looks like, as far as quarterly, because you have quarterly as well, it does look like we are up this year versus last year by about 73,000, so.
Deal. Thank you very much. I
All right.
appreciate it. Mr. Gold.
Judge, I've got a couple of things today. I'm going to turn over some checks, and then I'm going to talk to you about asking for some money back. First is checks, interest in the amount of $122.08, health insurance, $14,780.38, dental and life, $545.92, Aflac, $161.84, for a total of $15,610.22, and bringing the total for fiscal year 24-25 to $22,396.43.
Get a motion to accept.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any other questions of Steve? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Or still yours?
All right, so I have a little bit of a good news, bad news situation. The fiscal court has for years done supplements to assistant county attorneys' salaries, and this year we had set aside the amount of $82,094 or $82,095 for those supplements that was going to be paid back to the Prosecutor's Advisory Council through the Attorney General's office at the end of the fiscal year. And the good news is, after years of begging, the state came up with additional money to pay them, so we are not going to be needing about, let me get this exact number, $50,459.76 of that. So that's good. We're going to save about $50,000 out of that portion of our budget. So the other thing that the state did is they did a salary classification for all of the assistant county attorneys and all the employees within, under the Prosecutor's Advisory Council, and they came through with like degrees, assistant county attorney 1, 2, 3, 4, based on the number of years of service. And we have, most of our attorneys are paid by the state, either fully or the majority of the money comes from the state. I do have one assistant county attorney, the first assistant, Kyle Evans, that you all know, that has always been completely county paid. The good news that the legislature did is they came up with all this money and they set minimum amounts for each of these levels of pay. The downside is that since Mr. Evans is not paid by the state, currently his salary of $97,650 would put him making less than people that he supervises. And what I'm asking is that his pay be increased to what the state says the minimum would be for a first assistant county attorney with more than 10 years of experience, and he has over 12 years of experience at this point. The state says that the minimum pay for that level would be $112,200. And I'm asking for the fiscal court to, in accordance with KRS 64.530, fix his compensation at that amount. Again, what the state says the minimum is. The total cost of that, including FICA and retirement to the county, would be $18,530.88. So we're still going to be saving and realizing a reduction in our budget of $31,928.88. So we're still to the good. It doesn't require any new money, and we can do it all within our own budget.
I know members of the Finance Committee heard this yesterday. Steve came and met with them and us to explain this. And Master Putman, Master Southard, any other?
Well, Cal is worth every penny of that money. You know, he's a very dedicated assistant county attorney. And, you know, retention in some of these key positions is very important to us. It's beneficial for us to at least give him the equivalent of the classification that assistant county attorney 4, you know. So, yeah, I think it's smart. We need to do it. I'd hate to think that we'd lose Cal, but I know it's very competitive out there as far as attorneys go. And like I say, he's been here a while, so.
He is fantastic.
Yeah.
I love working with him.
You know, that dedication means a lot. But if you're wanting me to make a motion, Judge, I'll be glad to, unless.
If you feel the urge. I was going to let Master Southern.
Tim can do it.
Well, it was, as we discussed yesterday, it's retention more than anything else, and it really doesn't cost us anything because we're saving over what it is, so it's kind of a no-brainer. You don't let your good people go.
Well, and the awkwardness of making less than people you're supervising, throw that in the mix, and it's something we needed to address, I think. And as Steve said, thankfully, the state is stepping up and paying other members of our staff more, which is terrific, but it put Kyle in a weird situation. And Kyle is, Steve will say, he is one of the best number 2s in the entire state.
That's a fact.
And when Steve rides off into the sunset 20 years from now.
It'll be less than 20, trust me.
Hopefully Kyle will be there to step in and take over. And whether the fiscal court knows it or not, he does a lot of work for us. Steve relies on him to handle the myriad requests that get sent to him on our behalf. So he is an invaluable part of our team.
He handles all delinquent tax collection. He manages our, I believe, 14 different bank accounts, and is supervisor. Just fantastic. He's a great utility player and a wonderful teammate.
You may not know this, but if you go to our website, there's a budget tool that the public can use to keep watch on how the county's doing. It's called the HART database, and HART is an acronym that I don't know right now. Steve, I think, created it, but it is an online, hopefully real time. I think it's updated quarterly, and it is very easy access. A lot of pie charts, a lot of illustrations to make the whole budgeting process easier for the public to understand. And Kyle and Brenda work on that and keep that updated themselves. And I think it's a good tool. If people in the public aren't aware of it, just go to our website, scroll down to fiscal court where the rest of the budgets are, and it's there, and Kyle does that for us. And I think it's been a very good piece of transparency information for the public. So one of the many things he does. So, And sounds like Magistrate Putman would like to make a motion approving this pay adjustment.
So move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Anything else? Any other questions?
Thank you.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Good luck. Thank you, and thank Kyle for us. Next, we'll have Treasurer Ryder come up. We have a bit of rote business to take care of, the annual settlement from last fiscal year. I'll let you describe that a little bit.
You have received a copy of the fiscal year 24 annual settlement. What this is a reconciliation of the revenues and appropriations, which then equal the assets for the fiscal year. There are 5 parts to this, one being the statement of revenues, which is by account number for each fund. Next is the statement of appropriations by departmental account number for each fund. Then the statement of assets, which is basically your bank account balances for each fund. The other 2 sections of this is the statement of receipts, which is your annual receipts for each fund, and then the statement of claims, which is the annual total paid to each vendor of each fund. Basically, what this means, the first 3 sections of this, statement of revenues for fiscal year 24 was $80,842,332. The statement of appropriations or claims, $29,647,379, which then equals the statement of assets for the fiscal year 24, which is $51,194,953.
Any questions about the reconciliation, the annual settlements?
Do we need to accept it?
Yes.
I move that we accept.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
You have the transfers, and they are presented as presented. This is redistributing appropriations within the existing budget. These are necessary at the very beginning of the year because a lot of your one-time payments, such as your insurances and annual dues, are estimated for the budget. So that is the reason for the 2 transfers from the contingent appropriations at the top. I'm also asking for 2 cash transfers, one from the general fund to the economic development fund of $59,000. Next, from the general fund to the road fund of $500,000. These are both budgeted for this fiscal year.
Any other questions on transfers? Get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
You have received your bank balances after paying claims today. Your day-to-day appropriations should be at approximately 8%. Some of your appropriations will appear at 100% or right at that, and that is due to the one-time annual payments and premiums that are paid once a year. Additional claims are from the general fund to Bachman Chevrolet in the amount of $174,600. This is for the 4 vehicles that were just presented earlier, and these will be paid as delivered. It's my understanding right now 2 will be delivered this week and then 2 the following week. From the jail fund to Republic Services, $757.71. This is for monthly services and is from the contracted services appropriation line. From the LGEA fund, $12,097.66 to the Humane Society. This is to advance the August appropriation, which they receive a monthly appropriation from the county. From the Economic Development Fund to the Regional EDC, $10,000. This is the budgeted July appropriation. That's all.
Any questions about claims?
Move to pay the claims.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to pay the claims. Any other discussion or questions?
I have a question. I don't know if Brenda can answer this, but
Do you know, when we get the cars, how long will it take before they go into service?
Generally, it takes, Dwight, you want to help me?
Because we got waiting for equipment to come in. It just depends how long that takes to get it straight. Probably 3 to 6 months. Hoping the first car will be out in about 3 months.
So we can have it on the record, the answer to that question was 3 to 6 months so, to get a car on the street.
Right.
Any other questions of Brenda? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you. In old business, I do have one item. Over the weekend, Dana Drive was paved, and it looked really good. And drove back there yesterday, and that's a joint city-county project. And our road department will be laying down some shoulders soon, I assume. And awesome. To finish that out, and I think that went well. I know it had needed it for quite some time, and Dana is very appreciative of our work. When we first met, we targeted this for this time in July, and that's when it happened. So it's always good to make a assurance and have it come true. So look good. Is anyone else in the audience like to speak for good of the county? I will bring something to the court's attention. Many of you might know that the Henderson County Water District has been dealing with leaks in its system for the last several months. And it is a problem because the district buys water from Henderson Water Utility, resells it to county customers, and every drop of water that they lose to leakage is water that they won't be paid back for by customers. So they end up losing money on that water, and it has strained their budget. And this is not a small issue. It is a fairly widespread issue. They are, as you recall, getting a DRA grant to help tackle this problem, and they have also requested some help, some assistance from the county. And even though they do not fall under our regulatory umbrella, we are partners, and they take care of the people out in the county on their systems. And Mark Julian, the executive director, has asked for $203,000 to augment, hopefully, the money they get through the DRA grant to tackle this leakage issue. And we can use ARPA funds to pay this. We have enough ARPA funds to do it. I've spoken to a couple of the rural magistrates who understand this challenge, and I believe they support it, but I will open it up to comments about this. Again, with the availability of ARPA funds and water projects being one of the very first guidelines pointed out as good use of ARPA funds, means it aligns easily with that. So any thoughts about that?
I don't have any problem with it, but I think that Mr. Julian needs to come and let us know updates about how things are going, because obviously mismanagement and stuff over time kind of got us where we are. I mean, I know it's not completely preventable, but, you know, we need to have some kind of accountability. That's a lot of money.
Yeah. I'd be happy to request quarterly updates.
Yep, that's perfect.
And a record of obviously what they're spending the money on.
Yes.
Yes,
sir.
That shouldn't be an issue.
Yep.
It's something they have to fix. There's no two ways around it.
Yep.
Any other thoughts about that?
I think that with us helping them with this, hopefully it'll be able to keep the water rates at the same. If they continue to run water out and nobody's paying for it, the rates are going to have to go up. So,
Right.
I mean, I think this is a good use of tax dollars to help
Fix this, yeah.
fix the
Yeah.
problem and keep our water rates the same amount, hopefully.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, to utilize ARPA funds, Mr. Gold, remind me, we need a resolution to that effect, or a voice vote might help, might suffice.
Well, I would defer to Ms. Ryder. My understanding, though, is that since that money was taken into the general fund, there's not a specific ARPA compliance requirement. Is that correct?
There is a separate ARPA fund, and I would suggest making a resolution of some sort for ARPA procedures for ARPA.
Okay.
Sure.
We'll,
Does it have to have a letter of need? Is that what you're saying,
No.
Brenda?
no, I don't think it does. So the answer is, the answer to that question was, it would be good to have a resolution to that effect, and we'll have a simple one ready.
Sure. Absolutely.
Do you have a timeline on it, Judge?
On fixing?
Yeah. I know it-
ASAP,
Yeah.
but I know they're working on it now, obviously. They're not just letting it go, but it's going to run into some significant cost here as they fix these things. So I think we have time to wait a meeting to get a resolution passed. I don't think that's the issue. I don't think that's the problem. So, but I would like a voice vote to go ahead and pursue this.
I make the motion to get the money so they can get started.
We have a motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to prepare a resolution transferring $203,000 to the Water District through our ARPA funds. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Master Starks, anything for good of the county?
It's a beautiful day. It's great to be with everyone. Thank you, Judge. And again, I hated I couldn't be at the Humane Society fundraiser, but please help them out. They could use help all the time. And just glad to see everybody here at the court meeting today. And I'm going to actually defer to my good friend here, Magistrate Berry, to I yield to him the rest of my time. Everything else is good in the fifth.
To give him something to talk about, right? Yeah, so, Master Berry.
Made it tough, Bill. I just listened to you, then I say what he said. He covers it all. But I'll say a little bit about what we got an event coming up that I'm involved with in the park, and it's called Bluegrass in the Park. Bluegrass in the Park is August 8th and 9th. Correct me if I missed something here, Bill. On the 9th, it starts at 4 in the afternoon till 10 at night. On Saturday the 10th, it's 8:30 till 10, and on Saturday the 10th, we have breakfast in the park. Starts at 8:30. Music is by Maggie Hollis for the breakfast. There's a lot of good bands. There's bluegrass. There's food trucks. There's all kinds of entertainment. There's a folk life section on Saturday in the back of the park. I know two of the popcorn and the merchandise sales goes directly back to Bluegrass in the Park. And the reason a big reason is this is the 38th free year for Bluegrass in the Park. Costs nothing to go. It's 38 years this year. So if everybody can come out. It's a lot of fun. We'll be there and enjoy the weekend with Bluegrass in the Park. I think that's about all I got. District 1's good, Judge.
Thank you. Mr. Gold.
Just wanted another voice in favor of everybody coming out to Bluegrass in the Park. Even if you don't think you like bluegrass music, I guarantee there's something there that you like. There's something about live music in a park, and the fact it's been going on for 38 years. The Bluegrass in the Park Festival kind of kicked off Henderson's festival culture that we have through the summer. So it's a fantastic event. A lot of good people putting it together. Things are busy but good in the county attorney's office, and I want to thank the fiscal court for the support of the county attorney's office.
Master Putman.
Thank you, Judge. All is good in the fourth.
I noticed you didn't have any roads on the paving list there.
No.
I'm sure we make that up next year. We have to continue the tradition of complaining about the city districts not having any road projects that Charlie McCollum started on a regular basis. We have to keep up the tradition.
Yeah, you guys ought to do something for Magistrate Starks and myself, because we give you all the money.
It's an inside joke. Sorry about that. Master Tompkins.
Not a lot to report on, steady as it goes, but, I will say it's pretty neat whether it's your, as, Mr. Gold said, whether it's your cup of tea or not. We have so many people that dedicate a lot of time and all these festivals that help put Henderson on a map and really highlight what a great community we are. if for nothing else, just be thankful that we live in a place that we do with a lot of dedicated people who are passionate about our county, and I'm just wanted to highlight that. Other than that, we're good in a second.
Amen. Amen. Master Sutton.
I agree with what Taylor says there. It's, these things don't just happen because somebody decides to have one. It takes a lot of work.
Absolutely.
And somebody's willing to step up and do the work. And we should be thankful for those people as much as we can be. And Paul's good in District 3.
Thank you. Along the lines of festivals that require a lot of work, the Sandy Lee Watkins Song Fest is this week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I'll be emceeing both at Bluegrass in the Park and a night of the Song Fest. Looking forward to that. It's always fun to do. And I have grown to like both bluegrass music and listening to songwriters tell their stories from these events. So I get a kick out of it. If somebody wasn't out there getting it done, making it happen, we wouldn't get to enjoy any of that. So this Thursday, 11:30 a.m. at One Life Church, the Chamber of Commerce will be hosting State of the City and State of the County addresses. I know all the managers can't not wait to go to that luncheon and hear me brag on them and our county team. We will be, I'll be focusing this year with the help of videographer Darren Fagley on some of our people on our team out there who are doing the work every day to make life better for our citizens, and looking forward to presenting that and also hearing from the mayor about everything good going on in the city. So for those of you who have not bought your tickets yet, please contact the chamber because apparently it's going fast. Should be a sellout at One Life. Thanks again for all your hard work today. Thanks for our guests for visiting with us today. You're always welcome to come and watch how the sausage is made at county government. And sometimes it's sexy, sometimes it's boring, but it's always important, as Mr. Gold likes to say. So, with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor can leave.